Namaskar. I said in my last video that I would be needing a couple of more videos to talk about the COVID crisis. I was pressing that we entered into the COVID crisis with weak balance sheet. In fact, if you observe, in my last video, I clearly explained that the demonetization is extremely bad decision, whimsical decision, especially in the year 2016, because in the year 2016, we've already got a lot of NPAs in the first quarter of 2016. And then, as I explained very clearly in my last video, I request you, please, you have to watch the last video completely, because the way how the banks had no option, they don't have any option apart from lending the money to the non-banking financial corporations. And again, those non-banking financial corporations lended the money to the infrastructure-based companies. And now you see, from past 3 years, the non-performing assets came to standstill, almost stagnant. And I said the worrying point is how many of these non-performing assets, or how many of them, the very important thing is the bank's money, like whether the bank money in the sense the bank has taken the deposits from the people. I said in my last video, from the people they take the money as deposits, which is nothing but they put it in the savings accounts or fixed deposits, whatsoever it is. And that money the bank circulated to the, for the business purpose. They give it as a loans or housing loans or whatsoever the purpose may be. In fact, they at times give the loan to the governments also, like how this time the governments have taken to take care of this COVID crisis. Now, the very, very worrying point is how much of the money what bank has taken from the depositors, or the depositors, how many of them are in the red zone? Look at the point, very important point. Let's say, for example, my money I have deposited in the bank, and that money bank is used for other business purposes. Now, if I am in the red zone, which means I basically run the show of the bank indirectly without me knowing the fact that I am running the show. If I am in the red zone, so there's a chance that I might take my deposit back from the bank. That's one thing. And if I am the bank, and I have lended the money to the either non-banking financial corporations or XYZ or anyone else I'm talking about, forget about non-bank financial corporation for some time, or even normal small medium enterprises. If I am the bank and I have given the loan to them, and how much percentage of them are in the red zone? Because if I as a banker have lended the money to someone for business purpose, whatsoever the reason may be, and they are in a green zone, fair enough, I have a confidence that I'll get my money back. But if they are in a red zone, then that's questionable. So that's where this episode will be focusing completely on. So before that, first you should understand the Indian economy is forthrightly dependent on 10 major cities. Yes, 10 cities plus. To name all of them, starting from the Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, then comes Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, then back to the west, that is in Pune, and then goes to Ahmedabad, Surat, and again back in south, Visakhapatnam. You'll be surprised to hear from the Visakhapatnam point of view, yes, it stands. It's actually oscillated between 9th and 10th position for a simple reason. It has got a lot of other sectors, like the fishing industry is very strong over there. We have got a Vizag Steel Plant Limited. We have also got Dockyard Limited, Shipyard Limited. Too many things are there. That's the reason that is also, even Visakhapatnam also plays a pivotal role as far as the Indian economy is concerned. Now, in these sectors, if you talk starting from the Mumbai, you're aware, right? From the Ward T, from the first Ward A to the Ward T Mulund, almost 754 areas were in red zone for a very long time. In fact, Section 144 was imposed for a very, very long time. That's the case of the Mumbai. And then if we come to the Delhi, again you're aware, almost 290 plus areas were constantly in red zone for a very long time. Then when you come to Kolkata, the figures are absolutely not clear, but it was oscillating oscillating between 91 to 120. And then if I come back to the Bangalore, almost 20,000 plus areas were in red zone for a very long time. 20,000 plus areas. But now it has come to around 13,495 areas were in red zone now at this point of time. And then if I come to the areas, Chennai, you're aware, Chennai is constantly in red zone just because of one mistake what they did. The government was not in a position to vacate the Coimbatore market, one of the famous marketplace, Coimbatore market. All the cases of the Tamil Nadu basically floated from that particular location. So if they would have taken care a little bit, a good governance would have been there in Tamil Nadu, definitely the situation would have avoided. The whole Chennai itself is in red zone for a very long time, and then come to Hyderabad. Hyderabad claims only 95, but we can't trust Kalvakunta Chandrasekhar Rao words, because he is a man of words in air. He just speaks. You see, in the assembly, he said, I will fight for the coronavirus without even wearing the mask, XYZ. But all end of the day, he was not even seen for almost 2 to 3 weeks. And that's how southern politicians are still not able to come out of the approach how the southern film actors works. You must be knowing how. I don't need to specify, you must be well aware of how southern actors, a few South Indian movies work. Even these politicians also try to put the same type of punch dialogues. Now, coming to the, other areas like back to Pune, yes, almost they're able to control, and it has come to close to 75 areas are in red zone, and then complemented by Ahmedabad and Surat was constantly in red zone for a very long time. And Vizag, even though the red zone areas are not there, as I said, the industries were already belong to that category. Whatever I said, only 50% of employee workforce has to be there. The production in a few sectors came to standstill. Definitely the economy got affected. Now, if I come to the main point, let's look at this graph. This graph where banks has given the money to the others, okay, which means bank has lended money to others. Banks has lended money to as a loans to others. It could be any type of loan, housing loan, any type of loan, business loan, whatsoever the loan. You see the percentage. 71% of them are now in red zone. Can you imagine? 71% of them are now in red zone. 71%. Now assume this side. If my depositors, the people who have deposited the money in the banks, if all of them are in the green zone, fair enough. As a banker, it's not really required for me to worry, because no one will withdraw my money because all of them are in green zone, so no worries at all. But look at one more worrying point. Look at this graph. This graph tells you very clearly 62% of the bank's money, in the sense, what I mean to say is people who have deposited in the bank. I'm talking about the depositors now. 62% of the money, okay? The depositors, people who have deposited inside, they are in the red zone. They are in the red zone. Can you imagine? That's a big number. Bank has given the loans to the people, and those people, 71% of them are in red zone. Now bank is dependent on a few people. That is nothing but a common man's money in savings. And 62% of them are in red zone. How dangerous it is. If these people who are in the red zone, people who invested in banks, if all of them are either a state government or central government employees, if that is the category, fair enough, it's guaranteed that somehow, even though they're getting 50% of the salaries, the very less chances are there they'll withdraw the deposits. Imagine if all of them are small, medium enterprise owners and nominal people who are forced to withdraw the money. If all this 62% 92% of them withdraw the money in the next 2 or 3 months. That is a sign of the recession. Yes. Yes, if the coronavirus pandemic goes for a long time, then, and if these red zone areas won't turn into the green zone, then we are going to face the biggest recession ever. That's why this January, February itself, I kept on telling that vaccine is expected by September. We'll be in a good way. We can easily trust the vaccine which are going to be released by a top-notch institutions. I already mentioned those institutions with earlier stuff. If unfortunately, if the God is, the Almighty is very cruel to us, and if this pandemic ends till December, this is a very, very bad sign. Rest is over to your wisdom. Nandri, Vanakkam.